Hello, everyone. Glad to see you all joining for today's event. As you already know, Synergist EIC aims to support startups get ready to apply to the EIC Accelerator. And in this regard, we prepared for both of the cohorts, as I already mentioned, an event that will actually tackle these programs and will allow you to better understand the EU landscape and the other opportunities. And this event is entitled Navigating EU-Funded Opportunities and will focus on EIC Accelerator, Pathfinder, and Transition. This session will be delivered by Emmanuele Angione, one of the managing partners at Lira, an international consulting firm headquartered in Dublin, Ireland. And he holds an MA in Communication Studies and an MBA in International Business. He started also his career in the online payment sector before co-founding Winmedical, an Italian wearable MedTech company that went successfully from zero to exit in 8 years. He is an individual pre-seed investor focusing on early-stage wearable MedTech startups. Emmanuele, we are glad to have you here, and thank you for accepting our invitation. I will let you present more details about yourself and also the programs during the session. So the mic is yours.
Thanks for having me. My name is Lira, and I'm the author of the EIC Accelerator Data and Stats report. So today we're going to talk about the EIC three funding schemes, and we're going to start from the EIC Accelerator. So first and foremost, let's be clear. Since the launch of the fully fledged program in 2021, the EIC Accelerator has selected 563 companies and has deployed more than 3 billion euros. That means that is one of the most coveted funding schemes in Europe, but at the same time, one of the hardest to get, and is designed for deep tech companies that are developing breakthrough technology. If I'm going to use certain buzzwords, it's because I have to do that. Those words are included in the EIC work program. Now, let's talk about the program itself. As I was mentioning, is for deep tech breakthrough, deep tech companies breakthrough technology. I'll give you some examples because otherwise it's like, okay, what is deep tech? Deep tech is basically a definition that is used for very specific companies that do require years to develop their solution, their technology, even before getting to the market. And usually their deep tech company is coming from breakthrough scientific discoveries over the years on breakthrough scientific approaches, or as I was saying, breakthrough discoveries. Some examples of what is perceived or defined as deep tech. So for instance, is quantum computing, energy storage, precision fermentation. In life science could be class 3 medical devices. Then, as you know, there's the buzzword around artificial intelligence, but reality is not, let's say, a simple digitization of processes through system expert. Is more deep learning, machine learning, and computer vision, for instance, applied to the early prognosis of specific types of cancers and so on. Then around the deep tech, as you can imagine, right? So if deep tech is going to take years, patient capital, before getting to the right stage of development, that means that there's a lot of intangible assets. Usually the intangible assets are always into two categories. One is the founders, because founders are intangible assets. So their experience, expertise, know-how, knowledge, and scientific track record over the years. And the other one is the intellectual property rights. When we're talking about IP, usually people, they tend to think about patents. It's not only patents. You have trade secrets, copyrights, trademarks, and so on. So I would talk about unique intangible assets, which is a mix of the people behind the company, the founders, and the IP they have generated over the years. Then, again, if you read the work program, they refer to the potential to create new market segments or disrupt existing ones. So it has to be a solution that either is disrupting a new, a pre-existing market segment, like for instance, In Europe at the moment, you have a lot of funding going into energy storage, improving the European grid, and so on. So it's a pre-existing market, or there are new markets like, for instance, quantum computing, because there's no quantum computer on the market. So I'm trying to give you practical examples as well, right? And then any deep tech company, as you know, does require a lot of capital over the years, so they're capital intensive. And usually investors that are happy to deploy capital in capital intensive industries, they are by definition investors belonging to patient capital. So they expect to start generating returns after, let's say, 10 years or beyond 10 years. The other thing that I want to make sure is that from sending a full application to become a winner since 2021, the success rate is just 7%. So it's very competitive and it's not for everyone. And it's a funding scheme, it's not an R&D grant, okay? So I'll give you an example. Researchers that have their spin-off, spin-out, and they think that they can use this funding scheme to keep on doing their research, they will never, ever win it. Next slide. Okay, so how does it work in 2024? And again, I'm just doing educational content. So in 2024, the budget is 675 million euros. It's for single applicant, and even if on the work program they say that the technology should be at the TRL 5, in reality, the winners of the last two cutoff in 2023, they started from a TRL 6. There are 3 funding options: grant only, blended finance, and equity only. But 83% of the funding is allocated for blended finance. What is blended finance? Blended finance is where they provide an equity component up to 2.5 million euros, 70% funding rate, and up to 15 million euros equity, where you as a company have to bring along the lead investor for your next round, because the EIC fund, they want to be a follower in that investment round and not a lead investor. Even if on the work program, you will see that, you know, this is designed for startups, spin-offs, SMEs. In reality, most of the winners are early stage scale-ups. What about the process? The process is a 3-step process. So you have a short application that is always open, full application, and then face-to-face interview. Now, let's go into details. Every year, they split the budget in open call and challenge call. So open call is open to any company from any industry. So it's a bottom-up approach. Challenge calls, this year they have 6 challenge calls. They're very specific, and you can find them on the work program. I can give you some examples of the challenge calls for this year. One is on precision fermentation. Another one is on monoclonal antibody therapeutics. So they're very, very, very specific. You can send a short application whenever you like. The full application deadlines are preset on the work program. For this year, the 2 full application deadlines. Excuse me. In Dublin, one day we have 18 degrees. The following day it's 10 degrees. So you can imagine the impact on the health condition. So the full applications deadlines for this year, one was in March, the other one is in October. As I was saying before, the grant component is up to 2.5 million. The funding rate is 70%. So you have to show in the proposal where the remaining 30% is coming from. And the equity component is up to 15 million euros, but has to be used alongside a private investor that is going to lead the next round within the funding plan of the company. Let's talk about stats. Over the years, since June 2021, the first cutoff date of the EIC Accelerator in its fully fledged form, 7,800 full applications were sent, 1,763 interviews were organized, and 563 companies were selected. So as you can imagine, to be invited to a face-to-face interview, once you send the full application, you have 23% chances. And then to become a winner, once you're invited, at the moment is 32%, but this is destined to go down because the budget went from an average of 1 billion per year to 675 million this year. Let's go into details. Short application. So the short application is a 12-page short proposal, 10-slide deck, 3 minutes video. Everything is sent to 4 remote evaluators. and you have to receive 3 full goes out of 4 to be invited to submit a full application. If you if you're not invited to submit a full application, you have to restart from the short application. Now, the full application, guys, it's really something you have to plan well in advance, and you have to work on quality, because it's a 50-page business plan on a PDF document. Then there's a pitch deck that is different from the slide deck they've submitted at the short application stage. There are files on financials and budget, 3 minutes video. 3 minutes video can be the same or can be updated. So it can be the same of the short application or can be updated. Then you have to provide a freedom to operate report. Remember, deep tech, breakthrough, you have to have very good intangible assets, and you have to show that once you reach the market, you're going to be free to operate. So no one is going to bring to court because you are infringing their own IPRs. And there are the usual annex that you find on every EU-funded scheme or EU R&D grant. Documentation is sent to 3 remote evaluators, and they do evaluate your documentation. And after 6 weeks, and only if you receive 3 full goes from all of them, you're invited to the face-to-face interview. This year, they implement a new rule. If just one remote evaluator is giving 1 or more no-goes, then they have to go through a consensus meeting. After the consensus meeting, you may be invited to a face-to-face interview, or you may not. If at least 2 remote evaluators give 1 or more no-goes, then you have to start again from the full application. Now, if you're invited to the face-to-face interview, and the next face-to-face interview session is planned now in person in Brussels from the 15th of June until, if I'm not wrong, the 22nd of June, you're gonna go through this process. So it's gonna be a 45 minutes process. The first 10 minutes on the pitch deck, on the first 10 minutes is gonna be a pitch based on the pitch deck that you have submitted at the full application stage. And then 35 minutes Q&A with 6 jury members. And in most cases, because those are blended finance cases, there's going to be a representative from the EIB, European Investment Bank, because they are running the EIC fund. Then the jury members, they have to decide if the company is deemed eligible for funding or not, and you're going to get the results after 2 weeks. Now, this year, they introduced a new rule. It's called the 3 max submissions rules. That means that if you are sending your applications and you accumulate 3 no-goes through the selection process at any stage of the application path, so being a short application, full application, face-to-face interview, then once you get or you accumulate 3 no-goes, then you're going to be prevented from applying to the EIC Accelerator under Horizon Europe. So that means that next time you can do that is going to be in 2027. So that means that you have 1 to consider if you can go for it, if you're ready, and if you meet all the requirements and criteria. 2, you have to work on time and on quality. And 3, you have to consider every single detail to be successful. Now, you know that the face-to-face interview is the most decisive moment of the application process, because you're going to face 6 jury members, and they're going to decide if you're going to get funded or not, right? So the pitch deck has to be a compelling pitch deck. 1 person is going to present, and to be successful, you have to really own the narrative, the story, and you really have to show that for you, this is a must-have to keep on growing your company. On the Q&A, it's a matter of being extremely knowledgeable, passionate, determined, honest, and be extremely convincing that yours is the right case for funding, because you will always face tough competition once you get to the face-to-face interview. In terms of timelines, to put together a strong short application, it does require at least 1 month. Then ideally you have to wait for the evaluation summary report of the short application, because you can fine-tune your full application based on the constructive criticism that you have received on the short application evaluation summary report. And then it's going to take at least 2 months to put together a strong full application. and then at least 2 weeks to prepare for the face-to-face interview. But the 2 weeks, that means that you work hard every single day. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. Okay, thank you very much for your time. That was the first presentation. Now, so again, Pathfinder, like the EIC Accelerator, is one of the 3 European Innovation Council funding schemes, and the budget is split in open call and challenge call. This year, for the open call, the budget is 136 million. For the challenge call, is 120 million. The deadline for the open is already gone because it was in March, while for the challenge call is in October. Max grant for the open calls is 3 million euros. For the challenge calls is 4 million euros. And the funding rate is 100%. So this is pure non-dilutive grant. Now, when you go through the work program, there's written that you have to build a consortium for the open call. And when it comes to the challenge call, you can even apply as a single applicant. But in reality, when I reviewed the data internally, I realized that even for the challenge calls, you have to have a small consortium in place, like, 2 entities. Then, in terms of the challenge calls, they're very, 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 very specific. The TRL you have to start from is usually TRL 1. So that's why most of the winners, they have in their consortium a well-known, reputable university of center of R&D centers of excellence. In terms of the challenge topics, you can find them, of course, on the work program. And in terms of how to approach it, I'm going to ask Dimitri, but in our case, when we worked, we worked on 2 successful Pathfinders. It was really scientific and technical heavy. It does require a lot of time just to make sure that when you put together the text, you make sure to cover all the details around the breakthrough nature of the technology and the fact that you are starting from an early stage TRL. So in terms of the available funding, guys, the available funding, as you know, is less than the accelerator, and even in this case, there's a lot of competition. So the third funding scheme we're gonna talk about, one of the 3 within the European Innovation Council is called Transition. What is different from the other 2? One is that companies or consortia, they have to start from a TRL 4, and they have to try to reach TRL 6. Last year we had open challenge. This year is just open, and the budget has been reduced. The budget is just 94 million euros. The deadline is in September. This is a non-dilutive grant, so grant max to 2.5 million euros, and the funding rate is 100%. You can go for it as a single applicant, or you can build a small consortium of between 2 and 5 partners. However, here's the catch. When it comes to transition, you can only go for it if you leverage a previously funded European projects. And ones that you can use are Pathfinder, FET, ERC Pro Concept, and so on. Now, don't ask me the complete list, because the complete list is on the work program. So the principle is, if there's a previously funded project under both Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe, you can go for it. But there are then other specific rules that, the project has to be, the previously funded project has to be finished within the next 12 months, or the project that you're leveraging should not be completed after 24 months. Now, I don't remember the very specific rules, so I invite you to consult the EIC work program. I'm just here to explain how this works, okay? So this is interesting because it's a 2-step selection process. One, you have to send the application. The application is then scored by remote evaluators, And if you score the right, you are within the right ranking, you're invited to the face-to-face interview. Now, the face-to-face interview in transition is a bit similar to the face-to-face interview you can get when you are invited to the EIC Accelerator. So let me put it this way: do not underestimate, once you get to the face-to-face interview, the questions around the business model of the company, the commercialization plan, capital requirements, and so